everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. Down here at the Galloping Ghost production offices today. It's, Wednesday? July 30th, 2025. I'm fortunate enough to be joined by two legends of the industry, Larry Day and Jeff Lee. These guys have worked on so many elements of the video game and arcade scene over the decades, and it's an honor to have you both here today. Thank you so much for coming out. It's been an amazing time. Larry, just met you for the first time recently, and what a amazing amount of information and stories. And as everybody knows, for me, that's one of the big elements of running the arcade is getting to hear all these stories. So thank you both for being here.
Oh, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Doc.
Thanks for having us out.
For inviting us.
Pleasure.
Jeff, everybody's no stranger to Jeff Lee. He's done so many of these interviews. He's been such a instrumental part of not only kind of giving the arcade credibility by reaching out to somebody who had worked on games like Qbert and just basically every game that Gottlieb had put out. And again, you've shared so many stories with us. So you were the one that kind of put us in touch with Larry Day. So you've known each other for a while.
Yeah, but 83?
Probably 1983 at
Probably
Milestar.
83 when, Larry started.
Gottlieb. Yeah.
Well, Gottlieb / Milestar. Yeah, I'm not sure what shape the name was in by the time you joined up. But Richard Tracy hired Larry to come in and do pinball and back glasses, I think mostly, and some cabinets for the video game because you had a wealth of experience.
Yeah.
At ad posters and freelancing.
1981, I think it was. I started working at advertising posters, and I think they were on Diversey and can't remember the cross street. It was in an old factory, and they did. Basically, they made their money off of screen printing the back glasses and playfields for all the companies, Bally, Gottlieb, what the other ones?
Williams.
Tato and Williams.
Stern.
Yeah, Stern. All, yeah,
Rockola.
right. Yeah. So what they did is they had the same kind of business setup that the newspapers had, like the Tribune, where if you bought their advertising space, they had the artists to put it together. So that was kind of the philosophy with advertising posters, which meant as artists you didn't make much money. It's whatever they had in their pocket that day, basically.
Yeah. So it wasn't a regular salary position?
It was a regular salary.
It
It's
was
just
a salary.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in 81, I think I might have been making like 18,000. So I needed work, and that's where I found this connection through a girlfriend's sister's boyfriend who worked at Bally.
Okay.
I think his name was Ferris. And I interviewed with the boss at the time who developed Pac-Man and all that. I think he was a marketing guy, actually.
Yeah.
And I spent like 3 hours at his house talking to him, and he ended up not hiring me. So I said, where else can I look? And he, which is what you do when you interview somebody, right? You'd like, so who else can I talk to?
Yeah.
And that's how I got into ad posters.
Do you remember the first game art that you had worked on?
Yeah. It's funny how things stick in your brain. The first game I worked on was not a pinball game. It was a video game called Shark Attack. I think it might have been Tato. Shark Attack, I said, what was this game about? And they said, well, you're the shark and you eat divers. That's it. So I drew that. And then at the same time, or right around the same time, I did a pinball game for Stern. Something about dungeons. I don't remember the name of it.
Like going into it, like what was what were your art influences?
I am from Central Illinois in a farm town called Gibson City. And so when I got up here, I was just looking for a job to get up here. I'd spent a little time in Moline, working there for a while, but then I just wanted to come to Chicago. So my art influences were basically, believe it or not, in high school, I took that course that you saw in magazines where it says draw Winky, or you know what I mean? Draw the deer or draw the sailor.
Oh,
The pirate or
Yeah,
the turtle.
right.
Yeah.
I took that course in high school, and coincidentally, by chance, when I went to college, I went to Carbondale, Illinois, in a new program. It was an associate degree program in commercial art. The teacher had those same books that I used on top of his filing cabinet. And a lot of what I took in college was actually, believe it or not, a review of what I'd already learned.
he was
Really?
like one book ahead of you.
Yeah, yeah, he's one book ahead of me. There were 3 of them. And so that was a correspondence art course.
Yeah.
That's where I got my. But I'd always been drawing. Long before that, as a kid, I
Were
was
you
just
into
drawing out in the neighborhoods and stuff.
Were you into comic books or?
No, I was never into comic books because in this small town there was 3,500 in the central Illinois. I don't even know if it was very unusual if you could find a comic book.
Yeah.
But
So,
what about Russell Johnson, though?
so I met Russell Johnson. Russell Johnson lived in the same town, and he had a comic strip called Mr. Oswald, which has a kind of a cult following. Mr. Oswald is a cartoon character that he developed that owned a hardware store in a small town. And it involved a lot of different characters. And Russell came up here, and he actually lived on Ogden somewhere. And he studied at Chicago Fine Arts or something like that. I don't remember, but
Academy of Art. Or
there was a
something.
very famous cartoonist named Billy DeBeck who did Sparky, or what was it? Anyway, he studied here, and he was going to be a cartoonist up here, but his dad said, you got to come down and help with the hardware store. So he went to the hardware store, back to it, and he developed this cartoon for a hardware magazine, and that's the only place it ran. And so I took it over after. I mean, he started it like in 1926,
Yeah.
and he had it for like almost 80 years. And I took it over and drew that for a long time.
I mean, from what I recall, I mean, your style, I think, was heavily influenced by Russell's.
Yeah, it was.
Cartoon style.
Yeah, it was really influenced by him, and I was influenced by one other thing. Remember the Encyclopedia World Book? The World Book.
Yeah.
There was Britannica and World Book.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and so this is like in Central Illinois. There was nothing, right? Nothing of culture. So, except for the World Book, that was P for painting. So I would look at that all the time as a kid growing up, looking at the paintings, which, by the way, were all from the Art Institute in Chicago.
Mm.
So when I finally got up there when I was a teenager and I drove up there just to go to the Art Institute, I saw all these originals I'd grown up with looking at in my living room. Literally, that was a major influence.
Yeah.
So
It was
featured
funny.
in that volume was stuff from the Art Institute.
Yeah.
That was on their walls.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember a board game called Masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
It's about stolen paintings.
Oh, no.
All the paintings in that there was cards, and all of those paintings were literally from the Art Institute.
Really? I'll have to look that up. Unaware of that one.
Yeah.
It's,
When I was a kid, there was something called the Golden Book Encyclopedia. Did you ever see those? It was multi-volumes, It was like the first one was Aardvark to Avenue or something like that, first volume. And my mom came home from the grocery store. It was like a promotion where you'd get the first one for a nickel or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you'd go back and have to buy the other ones. But they were lavishly illustrated, and I still have them.
Wow.
And the covers were beautiful,
So the Golden Book from
realistically painted things featuring all the stuff that would be in that volume. Everything that started with an A or a J or whatever from volume. That art is incredible. And inside, then they probably had several dozen different artists doing stuff. But you can recognize the styles and all that. And one of those artists turns out was one of my professors at U of I.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're talking about Golden
Mi-
Books, the Golden Books.
It was called the Golden Book
Publisher.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe Golden Books published it.
I wonder.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, Mr. Perlman was one of the artists.
Huh.
That was awesome. Anyway, back to Russell Johnson and Mr.
Yeah.
Oswald.
Yeah. Well, I wrote it too, which my best cartoons were his third rate. So eventually I thought, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. So I quit that. And but at the time I was also I was continually working in the arcade business, in the arcade world, which, by the way, I never played the games. I just did the art. I just, no way I was going to play those games.
Like, to me, like hearing that story that you had shared, that they didn't let you really see the game. You didn't even see it. They just
No.
kind of gave you a vague idea of what the game was about.
Yeah, like the game Lazarian, which, by the way, I think is my favorite that I did. Lazarian, they said, there's these trapezoid-shaped monsters with long arms that whack down spaceships. That was it.
And that's all you got.
That's all I got. Yeah. And that was pretty typical. That might have been a little more than I usually get.
Like, it's such a... So, like, Jeff, when you were working on games and the cabinet artwork, it sounded like that was a lot more... Everybody's a lot tighter-knit group.
Well, that was entirely different because it was all in-house.
Yeah.
And we were all together. Well, at least in North Lake. I mean, when I first started in '81, I was in Bensonville, which was like their overflow production facility for kids.
Oh, okay.
And but the whole video game division was there, and I was in a room with the programmers and the hardware guys. So we're like all in maybe 3 different sections, but it was all mingled together. And then probably in less than a year, they had moved us to North Lake, and so there we were still together, but now the art department had its own little room.
Yeah, we did.
With a door we
Yeah.
could close. And
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's right. That's right.
I was in there initially with Terry Dorzaff, who did a lot of the cabinet art and a lot of pinball art.
Did he do that Haunted
David
House?
Moore.
Didn't Terry do Haunted House? Gottlieb pinball game?
I'm not sure if he painted it. The backlash, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he did that or Richard might have possibly done it, or did
Oh.
David Moore do it? I'm not sure.
I remember Rich Tracy. He always hated it if you called him Dick.
Right. Well, I knew him from. He was my entree into that because we were friends from the '70s.
Oh, okay.
We had mutual friends. That's how I got to know him, and we used to play music together and get high and all that. So he had created a position for himself at Gottlieb as an art director. He came to them with a bunch of pinball ideas. I talk about it in my memoir. I don't remember all the particulars of the story. It was more complicated than I would have supposed, but anyway, we're all in that little room, but then all the programmers were right outside there, so I always knew what was going on because the program was right there. I could see the games in development. And that probably became a little different for you, but on the other hand, you were still mainly concerned with cabinet art marquees, and you were doing pins stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
The pinball guys were all there, kind of off on another side of a wall, though. And there was only maybe a few that hung out with us. John Trudeau, the disgraced John Trudeau,
Mm-hmm.
and some
Yes.
few of the other guys. Yeah, so different experience entirely.
Can you kind of go over with the cabinets that you've worked on? Like what there's the cabinet art is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was always kind of the first thing, obviously, what you would notice on the machine. And
Yeah.
if you were going to walk over to it, if that cabinet art wasn't bright and looking awesome, you might pass it up. So what are some of the cabinets that you are known for?
Well, like I'll talk about the one I just mentioned was Lazarian, and as an artist, yeah, I illustrate picture books too, and I've done 20-some picture books, and every time I get a book, and I use the same philosophy as I did when I did video arcade games, was if there's real estate, there's going to be art on it. So Lazarian had this unique thing where there was actually a panel on the bottom that
Yep.
had art, so that was cool. And then I would first start out with a rough sketch and show it to my boss, who at the time was Gordon Morrison at Advertising Posters. And Gordon himself did a long history of doing games.
He was the go-to artist for Gottlieb, I think, for many years.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Right.
Yeah,
50s
yeah,
and 60s.
yeah. Mm-hmm. 70s,
70s.
yeah, and then the 80s. But see, he finally died of a heart attack. So see where that gets you. You know? So yeah, I would start with a sketch, and from there I would do like anything else. I would do a finer, tighter pencil drawing, and then from there, a lot of the art we did was just finished in black line, and then it was screen printed, so you had layers of color.
Mhm.
So then once I did the ink, I would do an overlay indicating colors to the people who were going to cut what was then called ruby lith or amber lith, and it was acetate with a color that you peeled off after you trimmed it with an X-Acto knife exactly where you wanted it. So everything had to be tightly registered,
Mhm.
which that was a learning experience for me, was how to focus and keep my focus.
Used like the little registration marks, like
Yeah.
in animation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. The little
Sort of like
crosshair
that,
things.
yeah.
Huh.
yeah.
Was it challenging with so much real estate to cover, coming up with, and again, such vague amounts of information? Like at Gottlieb cabinets, you had side art, control panel art, bezel, marquee, and you would have the front of the control panel as well. But you could play the game and look at other characters, and you had so much, you could talk to the other people. Like, how challenging was it to just kind of put something together with so little information?
Well, that's a good question, Doc. The one thing that I just thought of as you were asking that question was there's a separation. So the game designer was making their game, and it's got to be like a story, right? Sort of, you're playing a game, so it's a limited kind of story, but still you're telling a story. The whatever it is, the space invaders come down and kill you, or you have to get away from them, and blah blah blah. When I think about it, what I was doing was my own story in the cabinet art. So I was taking their idea and coming up with my own story. I didn't really think about it until, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I'm like 150 years old, and I still hadn't thought about that until you posed the question. That was so long ago, but it all works. It's all about story. Everything is about story. And that artwork on the cabinet was me telling a story, basically.
And in all honesty, like I play Lazarian, I like Lazarian, but the reason I bought that game was the cabinet artwork.
Wow. Okay.
And that
See, it
story
worked.
that it did. It
It was the cover of the book.
it really was. There are several games that it's just like, oh, that cabinet art is so cool. It's got to be here. And then you play the game and it's like, game's all right.
Yeah,
I
but
like
the
it,
art's great.
but and
It's
you
like you see a
wonder-
painting and think, "Oh, that frame, that's a nice frame."
Yeah.
But the cabinet art. Speaking of one of the highlights of drawing on a cabinet is that side decal.
That's a lot of
It's like-
space to work with.
It's a lot of space and it's fun and it can be big, and dramatic.
Did you ever have the concern of like you're given a trapezoid enemy with arms and a spaceship? Did you ever do anything and turn it in there like, no, this is so far off? Because that would be to me
No.
like nothing.
I don't remember.
You just nailed it every
Because
time.
I don't think I
That's
think
the
they
way to
had
do
the
it.
same thought that you had. If the art is dynamic, people are going to come up to it, and the game might suck, right? But it doesn't matter because the art's great.
But it like you creating the story of what's going on the side art could potentially, there's such the huge possibility of your story being different or better, or it's like, how do the two mix? Like we were working on Spectre Files with Brian Colin, and he had done side art, and it's like it's his game, but it was like, oh, it's the cartoony style that he's going with didn't really fit, so we did another attempt on it, and that was the first project that we'd ever done, and this was a very close, tight knit group, so that's fascinating that it always worked that way, and your artwork is so. There's a lot of detail.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
you also did Dark Planet 3D.
Yeah, right. I like that one. That was fun.
That is,
Which I think you may have the only game in existence.
there are not many of those out there, but
Yeah.
that's another one. I didn't even look at the game. That was another one that was solely based on like what is going on with this cabinet art,
Well,
and
that's his Larry's signature. You look at Us versus Them, a game that really didn't get much traction due to various factors, but the art on there, the side panel art, it's this
Yeah, it's
epic
it's
kind of
epic.
thing. There's
Yeah,
like
it's like
thousands of people out there, and
it's
they're
like the end scene,
and they're individuals. It's
and you were actually
I am
yeah,
actually
he's
in it too,
yeah.
but
Yeah, well,
but in the background, there's all these other characters. There's like a Clark Kent kind of guy.
yeah, I can't remember
He's
now,
about
but
to
yeah,
take off the glasses. And
Yeah.
he's pulling away at the tie. He's in that mob of people, and probably
yeah, kind of like a Mad Magazine.
kind of
thing,
Wally.
right?
I'm thinking Wally
Yeah.
Wood kind of
Yeah,
characters there.
yeah.
He was an influence on you.
Wally Wood, yeah, all those EC cartoonists,
Yeah.
and another guy was an influence on me was, I think it's Jordi Burnett. I think he's a Spanish. Did a lot of graphic novels, and he had this comic called Torpedo, and there's a number after it. I don't remember what it was, but it was black and white work. In fact, a lot of times I was influenced in each game by different artists, like Wally Wood, or that guy for a game called Gunfight that I did at Milestar. Or no, wait, for Premiere.
Premiere? Oh, a pin. Yeah.
Yeah, a pinball game. Yeah.
would you hide things? Like in the early days of video game artwork, they often wouldn't let artists and programmers and designers put their name on it.
Right.
Would you like hide things in the background? Sometimes like the designers would hide their initials in the credit screen of the game, just to
yeah.
always be like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Would you ever do things like that in the artwork, or did they openly let you sign a lot of your artwork?
They didn't really have a choice. I signed it.
Yeah.
So I decided early on that, you know what, you guys are only paying me this much. I'm going to get a little credit. Because I was just like, most of the pinball games I signed, not all
Yeah.
of them. I don't
What
know
about
if
the marquee
I don't
stuff?
know if I did at
Back
Galloping.
at
when I worked
posters?
there. Yeah.
You were signing stuff there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Moon Patrol might be signed, which is another favorite of mine.
As again, such a iconic piece of artwork. Doing Moon Patrol, like what did they tell you when you were working on Moon Patrol, or was because that was based off of an IREM game that got brought over to the U.S.
Is that a company's name? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
They had licensed it
Okay.
to Williams.
Oh.
And so
I didn't know that part.
most of the design not done here in the U.S., but the game was so impactful when they brought it over.
I remember. It's funny that I remember descriptions that they gave me. It's weird, huh? It's a little detail that you'd think you'd never remember, but I remember them saying there's these dome-shaped things that shoot spaceships out of the sky.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, these tanks were shooting. I think they said tanks and domes were shooting spaceships out of the sky. So when I hear the descriptions, it's like, don't go any further because it sounds so boring. I don't want to lose interest in the game because these games do not sound very exciting to me. They sound like they're all the same.
Yeah.
You shoot stuff out of the spaceships out of the sky, or you're doing something in space.
Hey,
So okay. And so I drew this, and weirdly, I drew that. It's a large piece for the marquee.
yeah, you said that the marquee was oversized on the original.
Yeah,
And
the whole frame thing is probably as long as your desk.
really.
Wait a minute.
The
Wait a minute.
original.
The original.
Yeah,
then,
the
of course,
original is.
obviously. Was
Yeah, and then color was added, and I did it actually
What
as
was
a
that?
black and white painting.
Right. I mean,
Really.
Yeah,
when you do stuff for reproductions, obviously, often you want to go big and bring it down because
yeah,
it looks better that way, than the reverse. Terrible thing to do.
Right.
yeah.
So that was a deliberate decision on your part? Or,
Yeah,
or did they
and-
tell you you should do it?
No, it was
over
my
the bar?
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go,
Okay.
"What'd you do this big for?" Because I wanted to, because it was fun, and I wanted to have fun. So, but my picture books I draw smaller and then blow them up. But I did a pinball game called Cosmic Gunfight for Williams, and we only did stuff for Williams when they couldn't handle it and they were too busy. So that is a big piece too. That's like a back glass. I don't know if I did the playfield for that. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
that was a big piece, and it was painted in oil.
Yeah. When you would complete these pieces and turn them in, what was the feedback like? Did they ever have request changes? Did they ever commend you for like Moon Patrol? Again, that's a beautiful piece of artwork for that marquee. Same thing with Dark Planet 3D. Like, there's so much art on that cabinet; it's so stand out. Did they ever be like commend you for doing just a killer job on this stuff?
Yeah, there was praise, but there was also like, oh, you're on to the next job kind of thing, right? I mean, but at advertising posters, which was what was cool about it, is I could do the art, give it to the production department, and watch it printed. That was really neat.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Someone else cut the ruby lip.
Yeah,
and all
somebody.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there was a guy in the industry who did a lot of that cutting of the colors on the play fields, and you're talking about sometimes 12 to 17 colors.
Yeah.
His name was Dick White. I don't know if he's with us anymore, but Dick was a very chain smoker, so I don't know if he's with us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a great guy, and he would do the art. He would you'd give him the playfield, the black line, and give him like here's an overlay of tracing paper, and with marker indications of what colors go where, and then he would take it and a couple weeks later come back with all the layers, and it was amazing. What the printing of those playfields and stuff was amazing.
It's pretty much a lost art now, right?
I'm assuming, I don't know.
Yeah.
They still do like screen printing, but because the cost is so much higher and the amount of time it takes to do it, they try to find workarounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is so different now. Like when you were creating this artwork, like would you take pictures of it to have some sort of keepsake of it, or was it just kind of like turn it in and on to the next?
Yeah, that's what it was, Doc. The latter. But they did make print ads with the games. The classic shot of the whole game in a scantily clad woman standing next to it. I got those.
trade shows.
Yeah, right. But I've got those, which are cool and unique.
Did you grab many marquees though?
I did. I have almost all of my original art. What were they going to do with it? They were going to.
No, but the printed marquees. Did you?
Oh yeah, I grabbed. Yeah, I have, and pinball back glasses. There was. I remember, and it was. This is sad. This is gonna keep you up at night. So when at advertising posters, there was a guy who came. His sole purpose was to come and liquidate the company. And at the time, it was like old factory, is what it was. So there was these big factory windows where our desks were. And you could open them and see the parking lot, and across was a big warehouse where they stored out. And this was outside. They kept all the pinball glasses and stuff. And one day I heard this crashing sound, and they had dumpsters out there, just throwing the back glasses, printed back glasses into the dumpster. Crash all day long. Crash.
Wow.
And I knew they were doing that, so I could see them. And I ran out a few times and grabbed what I could.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to get much because they're heavy and they're bulky, and
They're amazingly durable, though, too. So I had a back glass that Dave Moore had done. Punk.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And I had it framed. And when I lived over here in Oak Park, we had a long staircase going up the second floor where all bedrooms were, and it was hanging along there. And somehow that thing fell off the wall one day and bounced down the stairs
And didn't break.
and didn't break.
Shatter.
Didn't shatter.
Because he used that shatter glass. What is
Yeah.
it called? The safety glass?
Tempered.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
The metal frame busted apart and stuff, but
But,
that back glass, there was not a chip on it, and I still have it to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you should do that on an anniversary. Wow.
Yeah, it's they were liquidating the company. I mean, they were going out of business at that point.
Yeah, they did it for, companies come in and buy companies just to liquidate them.
Yeah, and no vision that this stuff could be well, it would probably be 40, 50 years before this stuff was valuable.
Right.
Yeah,
Where
right.
you'd have collectors.
It
wanting
wasn't
it.
at that point.
At that point, yeah, it was just junk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Were you going to arcades to see your artwork? I know you didn't play, but did you go see your artwork out in the wild?
I didn't, and actually coming here, shockingly, is the first time I've seen my games,
Yeah.
because we didn't see them unless it was at Premiere and Milestar, where they made the games, right? Or Gottlieb. But I don't remember at advertising posters. We did the art, and then we printed it, and then it was sent to the factories.
I would more. I mean, I was one since I'm a game player. I would see some of the games in arcade settings and some of the test locations. I remember doing that, but you're not a game player, so
Mm-hmm.
and he would be on to the next project anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Always working.
Like creating such iconic artwork that has lasted so long. Like we see so many people that have Qbert tattoos, and this artwork means so much. Like we have hardcore Moon Patrol players that come out and they spend hours on the game.
Do they have Moon Patrol tattoos? Any of them?
I know somebody there. I've seen at least one.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
it's a shoulder piece.
Wow.
Yeah, it blew my mind seeing some of these people with
Wow.
tattoos. I mean,
I had no idea,
I
Doc.
no tattoos myself, but it makes sense.
You know, when I was doing them, there's no way I knew that these were going to be like iconic images at all. You know, it's like a cult iconic image.
Yeah.
You know, what is that?
You're so close to it, and it's kind of, this is what I do. I make this artwork.
Yeah.
So it does have the job side to it, but again, as it now especially, we see these games perpetuating in their like the fan base of them, because the parents that grew up with the game and they're showing their kids remember these games. The parents would show them in the arcade, and now those parents are showing their kids. So it's got this
Generational thing.
it perpetuates, and it's one of those things where one of our big things with the arcade and why it's such a big deal to have you here is that, again, your artwork has touched so many people, and games nowadays that kind of come out and they come and go because it's the business side of it has creeped in so much.
Yeah.
And now you've got the in-game art. There's not even physical copies of games anymore. So to have the artwork that you've created that was really the hooks that grabbed people,
Mm-hmm.
it's grabbed them for decades now.
It's like album covers. You know,
Yeah.
old albums.
Mm-hmm.
You had all this art, and a lot of it was crap. It was photos and stuff, but some art was incredible.
cool, like
and then
like
CDs
Let It
came along,
Bleed.
and that art shrunk down. And then they started streaming stuff, and there's no art at all, presumably.
Well, same thing with the comic strips and, you know, candy bars. Got smaller.
yeah,
Right?
Bazooka Joe. It's not like that.
Well, it's such a like an incredible thing to have. Like you talk about your influences and what, like, how does it feel to have people looking at your artwork? And you guys' artwork, just the industry as a whole has been, for me, it's what got me into making games. It's like the classic arcade games, the early 80s, 90s games that was so fascinating. What you've created has steered so many people to get into artwork, to get into design. And it's like there's so many industries out there that people just kind of, oh, I've put this out, I've done this. But these games that you've worked on is just such a special thing.
Well, all that's extraordinarily flattering, and I didn't have any idea that I was doing any of that, but it's cool that that results in, you know, that's so great.
Yeah.
Because everybody, there's nothing that's original. Everybody's influenced by somebody else. And if you think you're not, then you're in the wrong business in the first place. Because everything is an influence. And your influences grow as you get older. So if those games were an influence to somebody, that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. And you know, I was thinking about this. There's one thing I was thinking about when I was doing these games. This, pinball, maybe not so much, but I don't know if you've ever been to an opera. No. Okay, so in an opera, you have sound, you have people, live action, you have actors, and you have light, right? Atmosphere. So you have those things
And a set.
and a set. Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same with. I always thought it was kind of the same with an arcade game. You have the visuals, you know. You have the actual sound of the game and the visuals of the game. So it's like a complete story. You know, that's kind of unique because if you look at a picture book, which is also to me like you're turning the page and seeing the artwork, the story, and everything, but you don't have the sound.
But you have another dimension of the game is that you are participating.
You are participating, right? And that's
I mean, you're not just listening or
Yeah.
watching to it. You're actually
that's true.
making
Yeah.
things happen. Or, I mean, within the constraints of the program, right?
Yeah.
Allowing you only to do certain
Yeah, the same.
actions, but still, you're you're a participant in
Which
the
the same in
process.
pinball games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're actually part of it. That's
Like,
interesting.
I think the cabinet art was so instrumental because of the limitations of the graphics at the time. So you
Yeah.
had like Qbert, who like looked like Qbert, but
16 colors.
that's not a lot to
16 pixels by 16 pixels.
Oh.
not a lot to work with. But with the cabinet art, you can kind of define more specifically, especially a game like Lazarian, where it's like there's that 3 pixels that are joined together moving around. That's this character. Like that
Oh yeah.
artwork
So you're
really,
interpreting, right?
yeah, you might not get that same interpretation unless that side art was there, kind of being like, this is what it is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And it's one of the things that where people look at games and they love the games, but again, it's such an important and so underrated and not talked about enough is the cabinet artwork. And we've been fortunate. We talked with George Gomez, used to do cabinet design, and Paul Niemeyer. Like everybody's kind of lent this thing. They talk about the programmers and the in-game artists and the designers and stuff, but it is so many elements. And cabinet design, having designed our Dark Presence cabinet, like it's so critical to have that artwork stand out, and it's really the first thing that they see. And if they don't like that cabinet art, they might not ever find the game. And the games that
oh yeah. Okay.
you've worked on, Moon Patrol especially, and literally the day before we crossed paths, I saw a Shark Attack cabinet,
Oh, you did?
and it was like we have the board in the vaults, but it was like, man, this cabinet is awesome, and it was so. What are the chances? It's like that was your artwork that, and you could kind of tell the styles and everything, like, but it gave an even more importance to that game to me. And the lineage of the games that you've worked on is just, again, I can't thank you enough for coming out here and talking with everybody, just because this is such an important part of gaming that I think that people overlook sometimes, and it's honestly one that should be more at the forefront because it's so iconic and really why the make or break moment for a lot of games. Like the word of mouth could take a game that somebody might have passed by. Oh, this is a fun game, go play it. But that cabinet artwork is really that first hook that gets into them. And again, both of you have done so much artwork. It's just incredible to have you here talking about it. So again, thank you
Well,
for that.
thank you.
It's been our pleasure.
Yeah.
Do you have a piece that you had maybe worked on that you were like, I wanted to do more with it, but deadlines or anything kind of, you couldn't get it where you wanted it to go? Or
Yeah, I had a couple like that. One is Colony 7.
so
That I wanted to do more with it.
from Taito, Colony 7.
Yeah, Taito, and also a game called Rescue with a helicopter, I think.
So-
I liked
Is
it.
that the one with you saw in the arcade?
Yeah, you have both of those here. That's why I remember them, because I saw them in
There
your
was
arcade.
that
Oh my God, I
that
did
ocean
that.
artwork.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that,
Right.
but I remember wanting to spend more time on the around the monitor and the control panel and the side cabinet. The side cabinet, I can't see it because it's squished, but
Yeah, that's
I don't
one-
remember.
One drawback
Yeah.
of your 1,000 games here, a lot of the side panels aren't visible.
It's kind of the
It-
blessing
it-
and the curse.
It'd be nice if that was on display somehow. Maybe up above you got.
The concern with showing off that artwork, I would love to do it. The concern is that one of the problems with arcades back in the day is that people would deface the cabinets.
Well, no,
Oh,
no. What
yeah,
I'm saying though
yeah,
is
that's true.
to photograph, reproduce those, and put them on display above. You got
That would be
some areas there that would be. As if you don't have enough things to do here, Doc.
Yeah,
Let me add it to the list.
Yeah, hire another guy to
yeah, a
start
team.
taking pictures.
But it's I just finding out now that you're done Colony 7. That's another one that the cabinet, I saw it and was like, I'd seen the board before and was like, but I saw it on a full cabinet and was like, oh, that's really cool. And the cabinet kind of sold me on the game. I took another look at it, and when we got that one, it didn't have the bezel, the glass artwork on there,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh, okay.
spent forever tracking down an original Colony 7 bezel.
Wow.
And because it was that important, it
It's
was
amazing
like
how dedicated you are. It's impressive.
it's
Some stories he's told me, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It's-
mind blowing. He's
But-
he's like a bloodhound chasing down some of this stuff.
well, it's
Well, it's great to have it in an industry that is,
Or it's
you know,
appreciated.
you get rewards for it.
Yeah.
You get to see it. You get to play it. You get to like, oh, here it is. It's like a living thing, you know.
it's one of those. It's all part of it. First and foremost, it's always kind of been the cornerstone to have the game playable, and we had a lot of conversion
okay.
cabinets when we started. But then, as we've been able to grow, and everything's ending up in original dedicated cabinets, and exactly like you're saying, the artwork is telling a story, and very much so. With Rescue, we got a cabinet, we got the board separate, pieced all the artwork together, and the last piece of that we didn't have was the side art. And Scott Lambert at the Underground Retrocade had a full complete cabinet. He was kind
Wow.
enough to take some pictures for us, so we were able to reproduce the artwork because
Wow.
it really is to us. This is the place where all your artwork should be on display in its most complete form.
Yeah,
So
that's-
we have to go to those lengths because, just as you said, you're telling a story about this game.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And if it's missing the side art or the bezel, it's most
it's
of
a little
it.
lacking. It's
It
not
is.
complete, right?
It's not complete.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff I put in the side cabinet art that wasn't in the marquees or the monitors, as I think you might call them bezels.
Bezels, yes.
Yeah. So the other one I remember weirdly was a game called Bagman,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
and I didn't like it at first because I had to copy a French artist, and I thought it was just really poorly done. And then later, as I was working on it, I realized this is pretty cool what this guy did, and so I kind of did a thing where it was a comic panel strip on the marquee. It wasn't just one single image. It was like a story, a literal story
Yeah.
of this guy stealing money and getting out. And I honestly did not even know what the game was about. I didn't. It's like I followed the artwork, and I was trying. They said, we want you to copy this from France, this artwork. I don't know if it was Tato or who, but so I copied it, but I did my own thing. You know, I used his style and his characters. The character of the Bagman existed, and I think as one of the best characters I think I've seen after I did it. You know, yeah, this was pretty cool.
That was like that marquee. There's very few that are like Rescue, and there's a few that have that comic style that are going on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually you just get the name, and that's pretty much it. So it's a very unique piece for sure. Very standout.
Yeah, and that influenced me to think about more story about doing. So I did a game that wasn't made called Jail Jumper.
Oh, right.
For Stern, was it? Or
No, that was
it
us.
For
That was at Gottlieb.
Gottlieb?
It was Steve. What was his name? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Pacheco. Steve Pacheco was programming that game, and I don't know if it ever got finished.
Jail Jumper?
Jail Jumper.
Yeah, so you had this criminal. He's busting out of jail.
He's busting out of jail. That's all I got. You know,
And
that's good.
so Larry you completed it.
Yeah, it was all complete. I did the final art, and
I remember seeing it in that book.
I think it
me.
might have even been
arcade book.
printed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a game called Puyan.
Yes.
Originally, it was called Pork Chop. It had 3 pigs. And they said, we can't name it Pork Chop. We have to redo it and then name it Puyan, which
Why couldn't they go
Pooyan.
Did it imply cannibalism or something?
Yeah. Which is why I thought it was great. They had pigs on it called Pork Chop. It's like if you had cows on there and called it beef or hamburger.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a fun one to do, and I got all the original sketches on that too.
Really?
Yeah, which is also in that book. Art.
Yeah.
There's a book called Artcade, Artcade, published by a publisher in the UK. And this guy got a hold of me once.
Beautiful edition.
One time he got a hold of me. I don't know how he got my email, but he said, "Are you the one that did Moon Patrol?" I said, "Oh, yes, I am. You know, there's somebody out there that's looking for it. You know, what the hell?" So he contacted me, and through emails, he asked if I did this. I said, yes, I did that. I did that. And so this guy from the UK, he had gone to this warehouse somewhere in LA where there's like this aisle after aisle, like thousands and thousands of old video games in one area. And I think he ended up buying a lot of it, and he actually did the thing that you do, where he took photos of stuff and put them in Photoshop and cleaned them up and manipulate and did color adjusting and stuff.
Yeah.
And he made 2 books. The second one he did a glow in the dark cover, where it's got the word arcade and it glows in the dark. It's just kind of a novelty, but it's kind of fun because it really fits with the novelty of arcade games.
Yeah.
So I did the second book. I was featured in it. The first book I was in it. So and he's got all of those games. It's got in beautiful. It's beautiful. They're beautiful, and I'll send you a copy of each when I get back
to
Colorado.
Has someone done collections of all like side panel art?
Like there's been
Kinda
attempts,
comprehensive?
and nothing comprehensive. Like there's so much art out there, and so much seemingly artwork that's been lost over the years.
But you think someone would have done? Oh, here's all the Williams video games, cabinet art, or the Midway. That would seem a little maybe easier to do. It's a smaller
approaching
group
it.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, a book of the side cabinet art would be amazing.
Yeah.
And side cabinet art on pinball games, different. And they're not decals. They're actually screen printed, like 3 colors. So you had to like figure out to do something in just 2 or 3 colors.
With Moon Patrol, did you do the stencil side art as well, or
Yeah.
just the?
Yeah, and I don't remember what it is, but I know I did it, and the monitor and everything else.
Yeah.
The bezel, I mean, yeah, and all that. The control panel.
Well, do you? How long did you spend on Moon Patrol?
Probably, I would say a month.
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably 3 weeks to a month.
What about Dark Planet 3D? Because that's
Yeah.
so much artwork on that.
Dark Planet in 3D probably took. Now, Keith Parkinson was in our group, and he became a very famous TSR artist. And he did part of that also. And we teamed up on Solar Fox. I did that one. And he did the character in the middle, and I designed it and did everything else. So Keith and I worked on that, and I laid it out and designed it. That probably took a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember that game so well. I know I told you this story, but I can tell you. I can repeat it.
Please.
I remember that game was so top secret. It was Stern, and they said, "We got this game, but we can't tell you what it's about." It's like, okay, so it's probably like all the other games, right? That you hardly tell me about anyway. So, what's different? Well, it's you'll see. I said, okay. I remember that conversation like that, and so they took me they told me where it was, and I drove there to a garage, somebody's garage. Literally, garden hoses were on the floor, and there was stuff in like a garage. It was a real garage. It was in the corner, and there was these two young guys. Young, I say maybe they were my age. At one time, I was young. And I think I'm not so sure that they weren't brothers, but I can't say confidently that they were. But, and I assume that they were like the masterminds behind this game. But I don't know if they were in marketing or what, but I think they were freelancers. They weren't hired by Stern. And I've never heard of them since, but they had this thing in the corner, and the cabinet was there, and that three-dimensional thing was in there,
The mountainscape?
Yeah, the mountainscape thing. That was actually a physical thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had mirrors and stuff going on, and there was like colors.
The red and blue visor.
Yeah, I looked in there, and that was the game that I got the closest to seeing what it was about. That was really it. And I was like, this is it? Oh, okay. In my mind, didn't say this out loud, but I thought, boy, this game isn't going to go anywhere. But then I got to looking at it more. I thought, this is a pretty cool game. It's a pretty cool idea. It's like I remember those games. I do remember the game where you're at like hunting. You got a periscope, and you're hunting the ships, and you shoot out at one and hit it. It was kind of like that. Like there was something thrilling about it. So I decided it was called Dark Planet in 3D, which is a cool name.
It is.
And so I thought, well, what better kind of illustrate the type to use than that flashy chrome three-dimensional type coming out at you, that was so common.
It was a perfect fit for it. It had that almost 50s sci-fi 3D depth going on to it. It was, there's seemingly a lot of the games that you're mentioning, the cabinets have sold me over the games.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's why it's so important. It's a big part of it. And I don't think, psychologically, people really realize that. Like now we talk about it, you see people looking at a Mortal Kombat cabinet. We saw it at the library when people were walking past the Qbert cabinet. They didn't see the actual game. It was the yellow cabinet that just kind of instantly drew them over to it. It's very impactful because it's so big. It's so big and again, an amazing part that I don't think it's credited enough. So,
well, thank you for giving us credit.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that's been long overdue. I think that's true of most elements of the gaming industry. People just look at I like this game. And I always
Sure.
look at it kind of like movies. It's like the actors and the director, and there's so many, those are the people that really make the movie, and the artists, the programmers, cabinet designers, the audio.
That long list that goes on and on and on.
It really does.
But it's right. Whoever gets the top billing and
Yeah,
possibly
right.
a director
Right.
um,
Yeah.
get all the recognition. I mean, that's what people see when they watch the movie. Well, they see the actor,
Directed
Right.
by. Yeah.
and they don't see the director, but they
Yeah.
might get the reputation. Yeah, different with the games. It was a secretive industry in a lot of ways. So,
The arcade industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they were trying to, I guess, protect proprietary hardware, and
Oh, they were. Oh, yeah.
at some
That makes
point,
sense.
and,
Yeah. They. Yeah.
Well, and the people themselves, like you guys were the commodities. Like if they lost Jeff Lee from working on Gottlieb games, like, and you went to Williams, like it was, I think that was such a big fear. Like you had some people like Tim Skelly that was out there that you knew,
yeah.
but it seemed like everybody else, they wanted to kind of keep close to the vest, that to not lose them.
Yeah, that's what we thought, but looking back at it, I kind of wonder, because there was trade publications where people's names were mentioned, and we certainly hired a number of people from wherever. So, and people in the industry seem to know who was who. So why they were reluctant to share that with the public, with players who, a 12-year-old kid's not going to give me
Yeah.
a job offer.
Yeah. Right.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but that's just the way it was. So that's the culture that it grew out of.
Was there like looking at all this artwork, did you ever have the thought of like, oh, I have a game idea. I would like to see a game idea that I could make this art package that would go around.
I didn't, but I bet. Did you?
Oh yeah, of course. That's because I was a game player, So
Yeah, because you.
I mean, I
you
went
actually
in. I
designed
went.
board
I
games,
went
too.
in there with ideas. It's like, oh, well, this company's it's owned by Columbia. We ought to do a Three Stooges game. That was a early proposal I made, and it didn't happen for a couple of years.
But it did
finally.
happen.
It did
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
There.
Didn't turn out all that well, but on the other hand, it's a rare 3-player game where you each get to play a stooge. So,
Wow.
but they didn't manufacture it because the industry was kind of
Mm.
going into a downturn at that point.
That's an interesting question though, Doc, because I can see that it would be really like cool. Hey, I got this idea, but I certainly didn't have the background to think of ideas for video games.
But
Because
but at Godly, that was the culture that these programmers are hired, and it's like, okay, it's up to you to come up with a game.
Yeah,
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
yeah,
Pretty much. In some instances, they would tell someone, yeah, you got to do this game, like with Crawl. So Matt Householder and Chris Krubel would say, you guys are doing this game because Columbia Pictures wants it. But that didn't happen very often. And I don't know how it was at other companies. But there was people like Dave Birdie. He was the marketing, the test marketing guy, and he was an avid gamer, and he was always coming up with ideas, and he'd write up these proposals, and of course none of it went anywhere because he wasn't a programmer who could program the game. That's what they expected.
Oh, I see. So the
People
person
do.
who's thinking of the idea, they also have to program it.
Well, yeah,
That's the yeah.
yeah, that's how
Like
it
when
would
you
have worked. So
when you do a pinball game, the actual pinball guy who's designing the game is the guy who's actually drawing it up and
right, well, I'm not sure how it worked at pinball. So like John Trudeau, for instance, would have an idea, but he would lay out. Those guys would lay out the field and all that.
Yeah.
They had those technical chops.
yeah, right. Yeah, and that was kind of like You know, it's weird because if you didn't have artwork on a pinball game, it would be just something you played, right? So, same with a video game, I think.
It wouldn't be something I would play.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It'd be pretty boring if it was
yeah.
just all a bunch of
It's just
Just on wood,
Yeah.
just a ball rolling around.
whiteboard or whatever they call it.
But you think about, okay, so you have that blank slate. You think, okay, let's make this a jungle game, or let's make a El Dorado. Let's call it El Dorado and make it a game.
Treasure hunt or
Yeah,
whatever.
treasure hunt.
Yeah.
It's just
But
wild.
I mean, there was programming involved with those games at some point. I'm not sure who did that programming. Not necessarily the designer, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just interesting that
Have to interview a pinball
Yeah.
guy. Yeah. There's plenty of them around.
I was saying you have in your arcade you have a Pong.
Yes.
That's amazing. I remember that as a kid. We had
Yeah.
a Pong. And I
That
always wondered, like, what would it have been like if they came up to me and said, "We got this ball that goes back and forth."
How would you
You
illustrate?
would
Yeah.
have made it so exciting.
Be fire and explosions on it, and
Yeah.
that. Do you remember the last project, the last like video game project or pinball project that you worked on, like the final one that you got commissioned to do?
Yeah, you know what? I think it might have been a pinball game called Touchdown.
Mm.
And when I worked so Gottlieb became Milestar. Milestar
Went out of business.
and Gil Pollock bought it
Right.
and called it Premiere, which was weird.
Well, because he couldn't get the name. at that
Yeah.
point.
But he could have come up with something better than that.
But
Anyway, he's dead, so see where that gets you. Again. But yeah, I think Touchdown, it was a football game, of course. I didn't do that at Milestar, did
I don't remember it.
I?
I mean,
It could have been.
it was probably
I don't
Premiere-
actually
probably
remember
Premiere.
the last one because I also worked on a game called Gunfight. And
At some point, their back glasses were turning more to photography, right?
right, yeah, like with Genesis. That was the first one where they used
Or that-
photography.
There's one with a casino.
Yeah, there's kids.
And
yeah,
Gil Pollock actually is
yeah.
in that. He's one of the guys standing
Yeah,
there
that
holding a
was-
drink, wearing a
That was
tuxedo.
embarrassing.
Yeah. But that was, I presume.
Yeah, I
saved
forgot
money.
about those. There was one off. There was one. I forgot the Raven was based off of Rambo.
Yeah,
You know, except it was a woman.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I can't believe I had to draw that. And then Tag Team, which was fun to do, and Dark. There was one I did at Gottlieb called Dark Sky or something like that. Dark.
Yeah,
Anyway,
don't remember that.
yeah, I don't remember exactly, but which one was the very last one?
Yeah. It's with games and pinball like coming back, would that ever be something, would you ever revisit it?
No,
No?
no, I don't think so. Unless unless it was really cool, that I would like to work on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, as long as it's fun.
So maybe Galloping Ghost Productions someday.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe if you have
Commission
something,
you for
yeah,
something really cool.
yeah, maybe so. If you guys have something cool,
Add it to the list. We'll
it's
get
not
on.
like it's not like I don't know how to do it.
Well, and
You
again,
gotta do separations though, so I'll gotta be screen printing.
You guys don't do that, right?
We
I mean,
would.
Do you? Oh, really?
Oh, we-
Okay.
we like
They're
going.
purists.
That would be amazing.
We
if you
were
did
trying
that.
to.
Are you talking about pinball or video?
We do video most, like now we've got some concepts for pins that we've not gone down that rabbit hole yet. But when we were talking with Brian, we were fighting with him. We wanted to put a CRT monitor in the cabinet for Spectre files. And he was like, no, you can't. Don't go LCD, go LCD. But but it's like that's how it was done. If you're doing a project like that, it just seems the right way to do it. So
Well, I shouldn't say no so firmly. I just never
He's
thought
still,
about
he's
it.
still
It's
a working
like,
artist, so
you know, it might be a fun thing to do. You know?
it's, somebody rolls up a briefcase of cash.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Well, yeah, and this project's got to be fun, though. I mean, it's got to be something that I want to do. So it might, you know,
you just have to craft the right sentence because you don't want to tell them too much.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, right. You can't say so much. Well,
You got to sell them in
I got these shapes
12 words or less.
that are vague and fight each
That's all
other.
you need.
You know?
Do you have a game that was most fun for you to work on? Like you've said the favorites of how they turned out, but did if you had a project that's just you didn't want to end?
I'd say Moon Patrol, Lazarian. I'm talking about arcade games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the Bagman was fun.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to do another one, like Bagman 2. You know. So, but the one thing I'd never liked, and I'm glad I was never asked to do a celebrity game. You know, where it looks like a celebrity, you know, like,
You mean like Rocky?
yeah.
Because
Like
David
that.
Moore had to do a Rocky game.
Yeah, unless it was like Bullwinkle and Rocky,
Yeah.
you know, or something like that. But I did do a game called, oh my God, Rock. There was 1 and 2. And I did a painting for a back glass. I thought it was called Rock, and ROCK, and there was like a 1980s band, you know, like all, and they're just standing there like imposing. There's like 5 of them, I think. And then the next one they made a sequel. They used the photograph. They photographed some guys
Yeah.
with the '80s style, with the mullets, and you know, and the yeah, I did that one, and I had to put them in. This is interesting because that's where I learned how to create a character, in a real life character, which helped me when I got out of the pinball industry and went into the advertising industry, drawing storyboards for major TV commercials, Allstate and all that. That helped me figure out, when I was doing storyboards, how to cast characters,
Yeah.
you know? So that was interesting.
It's seeing like the arcade and you've got so many fans you probably didn't know you even
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's no way I would have known
Yeah. Scantily clad women.
that. Yeah, right. Playing rock pinball games.
Would you ever be open to maybe as Jeff has done, he's meets with his fans sometime. Is that something that we could ever possibly plan to do in the future? Or?
Sure. I'd
Really?
like to meet people. I don't.
Got to
Should
fly them
I?
out from Colorado.
Oh,
though.
I'd be
Should I
happy-
want to, or
It's
do I want to meet these people? Or
you know I've seen the fans that have. It's kind of all over the place. You see the people that come out to meet the Mortal Kombat actors.
oh,
And
yeah.
they're literally crying. They're so excited to meet these people.
Yeah.
And again, you've got people that have loved the artwork that you've created for decades, and to finally meet the people behind that made that, it's so important to them. And
That's amazing. Because you
it's-
know, the thing about these games and in picture books and stuff is that you don't know where they're going to go, and there's multiple copies, right? It's like when I do a painting, there's one. When I would do storyboards, nobody but the client saw it, and the art directors and creative directors and copywriters, but still, nobody sees those.
Yeah.
And so you never know who's seeing these things. You just never, it's out of your hands. You do the art, it's mass produced, and it's out there. So yeah, that it touches all those people, I can completely understand.
I think you would want to set it up as, well, to do a publication. Here's like the cabinet art of Larry Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this nice book, like the arcade book.
Yeah, but
or you're got some of those there too, you know. And then you probably want to, of course, publicize it. You'd have to let people know, build up the audience for that, and then I don't know how you'd bring it all together, but you'd have to fly him out here, right? It would
Yeah,
happen here.
yeah.
Maybe when you take over the CVS, you got your
yeah, have the
there's-
major show.
link it up with a wrestling,
Yeah.
big wrestling mania thing. And,
Well, it was back when we had a little more space. Like right now, we have all of your games that a lot of your games. You've so many games that we probably couldn't even put them in one row cohesively. We've done the same thing with Brian Colin, and it would be great to kind of get.
you'd have to move a lot of stuff around for Larry's. He'd take up a couple of those. I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
it's surprise. Like just walking around and be, oh yeah, I did that. Like you walk past turtles, and we're
Find them
like,
all over the place, right?
I think I worked on that one.
Yeah,
and
right. Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, look at that. You've got this one. Yeah.
How many art pieces do you think total, like games that came out that you maybe worked on?
I'm just guessing both pinball and arcade, probably 30 or 40.
Wow.
I'm just guessing though. I don't know. I'd have to. There are databases that I couldn't believe it when I was looking for my own work. I found it.
Yeah.
And somebody else has like listed it. Like, oh my god! I
There's
guess
like
yeah.
a pinball database. for
Yeah.
instance,
Yeah.
that someone put together. It's like
I don't know if there's
it's
an
like the
arcade one.
IMDb, but it's for pinball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't know if someone's
some
done
of the
that for video
games, I
games or not. Has someone cataloged that?
There's attempts at it.
Yeah.
The one that I was looking at, it had you. It was where I had heard that you had worked on Blaster,
no.
and so
Yeah, I don't- yeah.
it was kind of questionable about what data.
Yeah, that's
they're
that's
Some of
pulling
the stuff's
from.
inaccurate too. I know
Yeah.
hmm
there's like a Wikipedia page for me that lists some games that I worked on, but some of them are not games I worked on. So, and I don't know who would correct that, or
Well,
it kind of bugs me they get the wrong stuff in there.
It's interesting, and it's one of those things that it's always been most of the industry people that I've talked to, even like I remember Ed Boone corrected me once on he's like, oh, I didn't work on that. I forget what game it was. He's like, yeah, I didn't actually work on that, and he's listed in the credits as a special thanks to. So there's so much like blurry information, and it's just kind of where nothing beats getting it from you guys, like hearing the stories. So
Well, assuming we're accurately
yeah.
remembering.
Yeah, but
well, there's been a lot of that where you talk to two people that worked on the same project, and somebody is very wrong.
yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
there's this one guy I know, and he worked at Midway, I guess, and then I talked to other people like Brian Colin and Jack Hagar, and so, do you remember so and so? No, not at all. Oh, okay, that's weird, but maybe that's just the way they operated there. But but there's people that have credit on some of our later games at Milestar, and I don't remember these people at all, and I was there to the bitter end, and so it's just it didn't register or I forgot. So
And then there's the horizontal Qbert cubes.
yeah, something like that.
It's like there's whole projects
no one
that
knows what that was about, or no one
you're
remembers. Not even-
credited with the art.
Yeah. I mean, I remember doing the video art, and you did the cabinet art.
Yeah, and something you reminded me, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and
So-
but even Neil Bernstein, who programmed the game, doesn't remember
No.
doing horizontal report or whatever was involved. I don't know. So
Some of it's the mystery that maybe we'll get an answer to
Yeah.
someday. Somebody will wake up one
Yeah.
day and be, oh, yeah,
Oh,
I
wait
do
a minute.
remember.
Yeah.
it was me after all.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I think, is there anything else that you would want to?
just go get some lunch, I think.
No, thank you for
Yes.
doing this.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
Been great.
Thank you.
Nice to get him on record.
Very much so. And I think an event in the future, I think people would really love that.
That would be fun.
So,
And it's nice to meet you, and I'm impressed with your entrepreneurial spirit.
Ah,
It's amazing,
thank
really, really,
it's-
really impressive.
Yeah, you're building some great institutions here.
I mean, Brookfield, Illinois. Are you from here? Are
I
you
lived
a
here my
native?
whole life.
Yeah?
It's never moved away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Larry lived here at one time.
yeah, 3628 Blanchard.
Yeah,
Is it Blanchard? Yeah,
Blanchard?
Blanchin.
Blanche.
Blanchin, right.
I lived here for 3 months when I was in kindergarten.
Oh.
My grandparents lived here. My dad grew up in Brookfield. So.
The talent that Brookfield can
Yeah,
produce. Well-
Yeah. Someday there'll be a plaque to you, Doc. I see you've put up one for Steve Campbell, and
He very much deserved one. To me, I'm just getting to live the dream and
yeah,
talk to
but still,
legends of the
Yeah.
industry that have inspired me to do what I get to do. So
awesome. Well,
Yeah,
been
it's
great.
interesting that you've taken advantage of this niche.
it's
You know,
I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't doing this.
I mean, you got people coming from the world, around the world, to come here, right?
Literally,
Yeah.
every country they're flying in from Japan, Ireland, like just every place you can imagine, all over the U.S. So who would have thought?
Yeah.
But
Who would have thought that
the,
it's like a language?
the reason though it's what you guys created, and that's something that is an amazing thing where a piece of artwork can be put out there and not just resonate so bright for like it had its flash and it's sustained, and these games
That's
are absolutely
interesting.
timeless.
That's
So-
Well, it's
interesting,
'cause-
yeah.
People like you and Jeremy Fox, and you collected all this and preserved and curated it all. So for that, we're grateful. It's a real
And you know, it's
ego
it's,
trip for us, you know.
It's interesting too. Like, there's a little town, Lyons, Colorado, and they got like an arcade. It's a little
It's-
arcade like this, except much smaller, like one of your aisles.
well, the demand is there. It was
Yeah.
one of the
On front
things.
range?
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the Front Range.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I passed through there. Yeah.
The people that grew up with this love it and want to share it. And we've helped over 50 arcades open worldwide. And we share the business model. We share all the information on how to do it. And there's literally a group we run with hundreds of people that want to do it. And there's challenges, but
yeah, I'm sure.
the amount of people that think that it's a worthwhile thing, and it all stems from, again, the things that you guys have created from decades ago that are still popular and relevant, and it's a crazy thing that at this point it's kind of progressed. It is timeless, and it's not one of those things where people are going to be like, I'm done with Qbert or Moon Patrol. It perpetuated far past that, where it's so circular, and
Yeah,
the cycle just keeps going.
yeah.
So,
Wonderful.
but
All right.
Well, thank
On
you
that-
again, Doc.
thank you so much. I look forward to talking more
Our
with you in the
pleasure.
future.
Okay.
So, huge thanks to our guests, Larry Day and Jeff Lee, for chatting with us today. Huge thanks to Tommy Waffles for manning all the controls. And until next time, thanks up to the Stack Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade. We hope to see you around the arcade soon. Thanks a lot, everybody.